I was for sure that a new life was on the other side for me, and all it was a facade of the enemy drawing me out to continue servicing this demonic altar on my bloodline of divorce. And that ends with me. Hello ladies, welcome back to ChristAdorn, where we believe that our beauty and adornment is not merely external, but it is of the person of Christ hidden in our hearts. We are a brand that is a mixture of Jesus, beauty and fashion and lifestyle. So you may see a podcast one day, you may see a vlog the other day, and one day you just might see a fashion haul. We are just a conglomerate of all of the things that I love and all of the things that I enjoy on this journey of adorning my life with Christ. So I invite you on this journey. If that sounds like something that you're interested to, go ahead and subscribe to this channel. If you are listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, go ahead and follow. And then when you get home, come and check us out on YouTube. Much more content goes up on my YouTube and my social media pages. Check the link in the description and all of those things will be there for you. So ladies, this month it is November and we are talking about the home, honoring the home. If you are following me on social media, you see I've already started posting about some things dealing with honoring the home, dealing with priorities and organization as a mom and a wife. And I don't know about any of you, if you guys on here, if you're a mom and you're a wife and you work full time or you run a business, it can be a little difficult. And for me personally, I do work full time. I run this social media, which is pretty much a full-time job. If you do social media, you know that it's a lot of work that goes into it. I'm currently getting my master's degree. I'm a mom and I'm a wife, and I serve pretty often at my church. So it's a lot of things that just go on at one time, a lot of things that demand my attention. But one of my prayers is always, Lord, give me grace. And he does. Like sometimes when I just feel like I'm so tired, it's literally like I just received a random second wind. And I know it is the Lord listening and hearing those prayers. So we are just going to get into honoring the home. But on this episode, we are going to be talking about things that I wish I knew before I got married. So I have been married for almost 8 years now. It'll be 8 years on December 17th. I met my husband when I was 19. We met in college. We both were in the band. I was a dancer and he played the tuba. And that's how we met, and we've just kind of been inseparable since then, until we got married. And all of a sudden, it's like, okay, not as easy as I thought. So if I could be completely transparent, we separated twice. And this year, we literally almost got a divorce. I think that is the most serious that our issues have ever gotten to. And one day I really want to get into that story because the enemy is so crafty. He is so crafty. And marriage is really it's holy. It is really something that is really honorable before God. And that is something that I just really didn't know, the depths of covenants and what you are really doing and signing up for when you get married. So that really leads me into number one. It is wisdom that builds a home and not love. It is the scripture that says, wise woman builds her home. It is wisdom that builds the home. And a lot of times we get into things because we feel so much love, we feel so much infatuation. Me and my husband, we were so in love with each other. We spent so much time together. We really didn't know how to be away from each other, and we just wanted to be together because we were in love. We didn't really have any premarital counseling, and of course we had like his parents saying, you guys are kind of young. He had just graduated college. I was still in college when we got married, and at that point, we were told, it's better to marry than to burn, and we wasn't trying to burn, so we was like, let's just go ahead and do it. So we got married, and I'm not going to say that our marriage has just been horrible. No, I actually love marriage. I love the idea of having a person. But when you don't have the foundations of wisdom, you really struggle and suffer things that you really did not have to go through. So I just want to admonish a woman on here watching this, or even if it's you are a man. Listen, your feelings are valid that you love that person. And those can be real feelings, but get wisdom, get good counsel, read your word, fully understand what it is that you are walking into. Being a wife, being a husband, it is more than just, I love this person, let's just do life. It is an office. It is a mantle. It is literally something that you are stepping into. It is a responsibility to be fruitful and to multiply in the earth, to do the works of the Lord in the earth. And it is really an office of service. Service. You have to be someone with the heart of service, or marriage is going to be really hard for you. And that leads me into point number 2, that it is not all about you. And as someone who grew up, and I didn't grow up the only child, but I spent a lot of time in the house by myself. My brother was older than me, and he moved out, and he moved out. He lived different places. He wasn't really in a home as much. So I spent a lot of time where it was all about me. Whatever I wanted, whatever I needed, I only knew how to care about and think about myself. And I went into marriage with that mindset. I thought about what made me happy, what I want. And culture teaches that. They'll teach you happy wife, happy life. And if the wife's not happy, then oh Lord, now the house is in shambles. And let me tell you, it is not all about you. When you sign up to get married, you are signing up to nail you and your desires to the cross every day. When you get married, you are signing up to say no to you first every day. Every day you have to wake up and say, I choose to love and serve this man that I chose to enter into a covenant with. And God honors her covenant, good or bad. So be wise in your choice. Be wise in the decisions you make. Do not let your emotions lead you. Because if you let your emotions lead you, you are going to end up waking up one day figuring out what in the world did I do and where am I? And how do I get out of here? And sis, I was there. I spent a lot of years of my marriage thinking, did I make the wrong decision? Or so much years of regret, which is really just seeds that the enemy plants because things are not going the way that I wanted it to go. Things did not look the way that I felt it should. I had this whole plan in my head of what I thought life should be like, what I thought my marriage should be like, what I thought my husband should be like. And when it wasn't no longer serving me, I was ready to go. I was ready to get out of there. Okay, bags were packed. You know what? We didn't even need the bags. Leave it, keep it. I don't want nothing. I was ready to go. And the Lord had to really sit me down and teach me humility, teach me wisdom, and teach me the importance and the significance of covenant. My next point, I would say, serial dating sets you up for a difficult marriage. And I say this because, and you know what? I want to say, I first heard my apostle say this. I remember one time he said it, dating is practicing dating is practicing divorce. And I remember the first time he said it, I'm like, that makes no sense. Like, what is he talking about? And then I really had to sit and think about some of the things that I was struggling with in my marriage. And when you are dating, we are taught and we know if this person don't work, get another one. If they not doing what I want him to do or what I want her to do, move on. Somebody else will. What somebody else will do, somebody else will. I don't like that he wears these color socks with his shoes. Yeah, no, I don't want to date him no more. I'm gonna go date someone else, or we're texting and we have a rotation. Like, yeah, okay, I'm calling out. I know some of y'all have a rotation. Y'all got a few guys who do different things for you. And if you live your life like that now, especially if you are a Christian woman, why do you have a rotation? Come on now, sis. Cut it out. But if that is how you are doing life now and you're dating, when you get married, you're going to have that same mindset, that the moment that your husband is not checking your boxes, the moment that you get the ick, you're ready to go, because you're used to easily packing up and getting out of a place. You don't know commitment. You don't know getting in the mud and working with somebody, growing with somebody, and seeing somebody past your own worldly perspectives. And one thing that I always pray is, Lord, help me to see my husband the way that you see him. Help me to see him through the lens and a perspective by which you see him, and not my own. And I just think that if you are in the point to where you are dating, you are single right now, I think, one, you should really take the time to really sit with the Lord and figure out, what do you like? What do you need? What is it that you are looking for in a man? That way you won't get into dating and then now you are having to have different men for different things. You don't need a man who buys you food, and then you don't need a man who you can talk to for intellectual conversation, and then it's the guy that you hit up when you're bored. Listen, you are only setting yourself up for failure when you get married. And I'm telling you from personal experience. I went through many years with feeling like, well, you know what, he's not doing this, it's somebody else out there who will. Okay, he not buying me flowers when I want flowers, or when I feel like I need flowers. I guarantee you there's a guy out there right now who will. And guess what? You don't want to know what the truth is? It probably is a guy out there who would. But then what does that open the door to? So we have to be wise. We have to be people who are not led by our flesh, but people who are led by the word of God. People who are led by the Spirit of God. You have to learn how to take your frustrations to God and not to other people. And sometimes you have to learn how to take your frustrations to God and not your partner. And it takes self-control, restraint, and wisdom to know not to express every grievance that you have, every frustration that you have. And one thing that, and people always say this, you can go and vent to somebody else, and then you be done forgave them. And then now your family, your friends, they still do not like this man. And I think it is a point that you should never give people outside of your marriage avenue to see your partner in a negative light. Like, everybody should be, from the outside looking in, and I'm not saying that you have to be fake and phony. I believe that you should have somebody, at least one person that you can really go to with your vulnerability. But if I can be honest, I used to be the type of person that would complain to anybody who would listen. And I'm so embarrassed to say this, but you know what? Whatever. Shame the devil. It's a trick of the enemy, because words have power. And even if, the people that you are venting to may not be out for your harm, you venting and expressing those things even opens up even avenues in the spiritual realm. The spiritual realm is real. Demons are real. And there are active enemies against your marriage. The enemy hates marriage. And he hates godly marriages above all else. And we have to be mindful of the words that we speak. Mindful of the things that we are letting come out of our mouth, no matter how upset you feel. And the one thing about me and my husband, we are so polar opposites. I'm the type of person, and I'm working on getting better, I promise y'all, where if I am feeling some type of way, I'm upset, something, I didn't like this, I'm going to let you know right then. We're going to talk about this right now. I'm not going to be able to go to sleep if we do not talk about this. And him, he won't talk right now. He may wait a few hours later to the next day, get his thoughts together, get his emotions together, and talk about it. And he'll roll over and go to sleep. And I'll be on my side of the bed, literally fuming, cannot sleep. And I'm like, but it's wisdom to take time to think, to sit on things, how you going to respond. And that really helps you to guide the words that are coming out of your mouth, how you speaking to your partner. I used to be the type of person who, I'd hit below the belt. I'd say some things intentionally to hurt your feelings. And, my husband, he wasn't like that. And I know y'all probably looking like, girl, you sound like you were the problem. And partly I was. The Lord really, really had to sit me down this year. And I thank the Lord that he stopped me because, I was on my way somewhere. I don't know where, but I was going somewhere. And I was going there fast, okay? With nothing stopping me. I was for sure that a new life was on the other side for me, and all it was a facade of the enemy drawing me out to continue servicing this demonic altar on my bloodline of divorce. And that ends with me. And I think my last point I would say is to pay attention to who your partner is now, and not who you think that they could be, or the version of them that you've created in your head. And sometimes as women, we have a bad habit of seeing potential in people and not seeing who they are presenting themselves to be right now. And that is not even always negative. Like, they could be a good person now. And I'm not saying just potential in the concept of them, you being blind and they really are not good people. They could be a good person, but sometimes, women, we just go a little bit too far. Okay, we just go a little bit too far. So I would say pay attention to who they are now. If they are a person who doesn't like to do this now, or they're not a morning person now, they're not, not really drawn to prayer like you, or reading the word like you, and the things of the Lord like you, pay attention to that. Because sometimes we think like, oh, those are things that can change, and they are, but more times than not, it's probably not going to change. And it's probably not going to change in a timeline that you expect, or the timeline that you have placed. So I say pay attention to who they are, and really seek the Lord into what he has placed inside of them. What is the Lord working in them for their future? So I really partner with the Lord and with Holy Spirit in your decision making. Women, hear me. You have to get out of your head, and you have to get out of your emotions. This is a lifelong decision. And I know culture now, divorce is just like signing a paper now. It's nothing serious, but we don't really know the spiritual consequences of what we are doing. Covenant is serious. The Lord honors it. You literally become one flesh with this person. Your problems now become his, and his now become yours, and your generation's problem now become your children's problem. So be really diligent in your picking, and diligent in your coming together to grow. Especially if you are young. I got married young, and there's nothing wrong with getting married young, but understand that you are going to grow into different versions of yourself throughout the years. I am not the same person that I was at 19. My husband is not the same man that he was at 21 when I met him. We have become different people over these past 10 years that we have now been together, and I've probably evolved into way more people than he has. At this point, his head's probably swimming like, who is this woman that I am sleeping next to? But it is so true that you literally are going to see your partner at their highs and at their lows. You're going to see them in the uglies of transition, and you have to be a person that is not only thinking about yourself. You have to be a person who has a heart to serve and to put your boots on and get in the mud. Okay, and I know we don't like that. We love soft love. We don't want this whole story of suffering. And I'm not saying you gotta suffer. If you is out here suffering, sis, I am not advertising you to stand there. If you are being abused and if you are being cheated on, listen, get out of there. I'm not that Christian. I'm sorry. The Lord could do all things, or he can do it while I am outside of the home. Nevertheless, we have to be women who are willing to build with our men. And that is a part of also honor. And my pastor, she talked about, as far as with being wise with our finances, our husband out working hard and we just racking up on Amazon packages, not really helping him to actually build a legacy. We just spending, and not really being women who are builders. And that is all. It all encompasses being a wise woman who builds her home, and it is the foolish woman who tears it down with her own hands. And I was the foolish woman who tore her home down with her own hands. And now I am sitting here talking to you, letting you know so that you don't make the same mistakes that I did. And like I said, I got married young. I didn't really have a reference. Most of the women in my family are divorced, did not get married, don't want to get married. So I didn't really have an example of what healthy, godly marriage was supposed to look like. But I thank the Lord for His mercy that He didn't allow me to ruin my life or my child's life, but He really allowed us to get to the lows that we did so that He can deal with our foundation. So if I can leave you with one thing, build your house upon the foundations of wisdom and Christ, and not on the foundations of culture and your emotions and your feelings. Really understand what you are signing up for, and if you truly want to be a wife, because like I said, it is an office of service. You are called to honor and to be humble. You are called to serve and submit to this man. And sometimes your flesh is not going to like that. If we really look biblically into submission unto your husband, women now, they would be in an uproar. And it said that Sarah called her husband Lord. Okay, that's how much she submit and served that man. Now, I don't know if I am as mature as she is, but God bless her. But what I'm saying is I'm learning every day. I'm praying every day to Lord mold me and shape me into a wife that is honorable, a mother that is loving, that is compassionate, and that is wise, and just a better all-around believer and daughter of Christ. So y'all, I think that is pretty much it for this video, for this episode. And I just thank you guys for listening. I thank you guys for watching. As I said, if you are not following me on social media, go ahead and follow me and join us this month. We also have some exciting things that are launching this month. If you go and look on our social media, I have revealed the first looks of our products. If you guys don't know, we are also a luxury fashion line. When I say that we are just a conglomerate of a lot of things, we are. Jesus is just a brand. I don't have a niche. Jesus is a niche. We're doing everything over here. So yeah, we have a purse that has launched, and I also have a few more products that I'm going to be showing soon. So that is it. I thank you guys for watching, for listening. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your week, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.